प्रभाताम्रजटाधराय निरीश्वरायै निखिलेश्वराय नमः शिवायै च नमः शिवाय। प्रपञ्च सृष्ट्यन्मुखलास्यकायै समस्त संहारक ताण्डवाय जगज्जनन्यै जगदेकपीत्रे नमः शिवायै च नमः शिवाय। प्रदीप्तरत्नोज्ज्वलकुण्डलायै स्फुरन्महापन्नगभूषणाय शिवान्वितायै च शिवान्विताय नमः शिवायै च नमः शिवाय। एतत्पठेदष्टकमिष्टदं यो भक्तासमान्यो भुवि दीर्घजीविः प्राप्नोति सौभाग्यमनन्तकालं भूयात् सदा तस्य समस्तसिद्धिः। वेदान्तवाक्येषु सदा रमन्तः भिक्षान्नमात्रेण चतुष्टिमन्तः अशोकवन्तः करुणैकवन्तः कौपीनवन्तः खलु भाग्यवन्तः। मूलन्तरो केवलमाश्रयन्तः पाणिद्वये भोक्तुममत्रयन्तः कन्थामपि स्त्रीमिव कुत्सयन्तः कौपीनवन्तः खलु भाग्यवन्तः। देहाभिमानं परिहृत्य दूरात् आत्मानमात्मन्यवलोकयन्तः अहर्निशं ब्रह्मणि ये रमन्तः कौपीनवन्तः खलु भाग्यवन्तः। स्वानन्दभावे परितुष्टिमन्तः संशान्तसर्वेन्द्रियवृत्तिमन्तः नान्तं न मध्यं न बहिः स्मरन्तः कौपीनवन्तः खलु भाग्यवन्तः।
Hari Om. When you're coming, get the bag. Thank you. सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Suddenly I see a lot of them. I guess you are as happy for this day as I am. We started a long time ago, and in between, a lot of schedule conflicts, weather influences, we could not get to this Rudra Prashna. But finally, with His grace, slowly yet steadily, we have come to this last discourse on Rudra Prashna. When I had planned, I was researching into various resources that I could get my hands on so that a lot of study could be done, because this was my first time looking into it with in-depth analysis. So as I was gathering these different books, I was told very clearly that don't take so much of research. It will be so dry that people will not appreciate it or enjoy it. And these are some of the Pithadipatis themselves that they have said. But I think with their blessings, with Puja Gurudev's blessings, we, I think, have done a thorough job in going through every mantra in this Rudra Prashna. Now the last few lines of the remaining Anuvaka, please repeat after me. This Anuvaka doesn't have a number, like the 11th one is already done. These are just add-on mantras. Ye te sahasramayutam pashamrityo martyaya hantave tan yajnasya Mayaya sarvanava yajamahe. Ye te sahasram ayutam. Ayutam Sahasram is 1000. Ayutam is tens of thousands. Thousands of tens of thousands. Sahasram Ayutam. He Mrityo. He Mrityo, O Lord of Death. Now one may say that, hey, Yama is the Lord of Death. How did suddenly Rudra become Yama? Definitely, Lord Yama is the Lord of Death. There is no contention about it. But who is his boss? There was a movie that I was seeing, and the one who has written the play and the script is trying to direct it, and suddenly this person comes from nowhere trying to give ideas and suggestions, and the one who has written that play gets mad, saying that, who do you think that you are? Do you know who I am? I am the one who has written this play. Then he says, I am the money that allows you to roll your play onto the stage. Meaning, you may have the rights on your script, but if it has to go onto the stage, it is with my strength that it goes there. I said, oh, nice to meet you finally. Similarly, yes, Lord Yama is the Lord of Death. But who does he work for? He works for that Paramatma himself. And to that Paramatma, there is both words used, and we have seen it in the earlier part of mantra, wherein he is worshipped as Kala Swarupa as well as the one who is Kala Agni Swarupa. He is the very form of Kala, time, and he is the Agni, the end of time as well. So one cannot really ask, when was God created? That is a very redundant question. Because that when, with what you are asking, was created by him, meaning he was before. See, to put it even in that sentence is little difficult. He is to that time which is before time. Does it make sense? He is of that realm of consistency or constancy that based off of which Kala was created. And when everything comes to an end, even that time is swallowed up by him. And that eternity, therefore he is called Mrityo. Hey Mrityu. I think ours is one of the religions or one of the main religions wherein our perspective on death is a very in-depth understanding. Because we believe that it is not end in all. As Bhagavan Krishna puts it very beautifully in Bhagavad Gita, stating that this entire creation, as it changes itself from one form of change to the next form of expression, that earlier form changing itself, morphing itself, is called the death of the earlier form, giving birth to the new thing. When there is the caterpillar, eats, swells up, creates a cocoon, and then breaks that shell, comes out into the form of a beautiful butterfly or a moth, however it be, whatever is the caterpillar variety. So the caterpillar nest dies, giving birth to the cocoon. The cocoon nest dies in giving birth to this butterfly. Even in our lives, the way we have lived, that the childhood is done with, then comes the youth. The youthfulness passes by, and then there is wisdom. Just so that you can feel good. Old age sets in. In each one of these phases, as one phase moves away, goes away, that phase is dead. So every such movement is called death. And Gurudev translation, some of his perfect translations into English are irreplaceable. And he translates it in Bhagavad Gita as a constructive destruction is what the Hindus call as death. There is some aspect of it which is destroyed, but that destruction is not annihilation. That destruction is only giving room, giving space for something new to come. This is one concept of death, one concept of mrityu. But here who is being invoked? Not these temporary movements from one form of expression to the next, but complete annihilation, the time, space, everything consumed back into its nascent form of existence. That mrityu, that who is the mrityu for mrityu, that who is the Lord of death, Lord of Lord death. He mrityo, martyaya hantave. Martyaya, all of us, until we have the experience, immediate experience, aparokshanubhuti, up until then, there is no other classification. Either you are there realized, you are the wise, or you are the otherwise. There is no other in between shade, in between classification. Sometimes this particular concept to understand is, I don't know why it is that difficult. You thought in your garden that it was a snake. And you go again with a flashlight and sit there 5 minutes laughing at your own foolishness, that you saw a rope and assumed it to be a snake. You know, when you go through that immense tension, anxiety, and suddenly it is revealed that that which you are anxious about has nothing substantial about it, and that sense of relief, and you look at yourself or you imagine yourself, oh my gosh, I was just and you start into that role of laughter at your own stupidity, and suddenly there is this thought again comes in, creeps in. This side is rope. What about the other end? Is it still rope or is it still snake there? Would that question even come into mind? Hopefully not. Why? The understanding that sets in is completeness. Either it is completely a rope or completely an imaginary snake. There is no in-between shade that I have realized this piece to be a rope 25%. There is another 75% I have to realize. ऐसा होता है? Either you grasp it or you don't grasp it. Either you understand it or you don't understand it. There is no in-between stage of it. And the understanding is called aparoksha anubhuti. Not paroksha, not just pratyaksha, but aparoksha. Paroksha, inferential. When you see smoke somewhere, what is the inferred knowledge? There is some knowledge inferred. What do you infer? That wherever there is smoke, there would be fire. Sometimes this backfires. I had to ask this example knowing the crowd. In high school and middle school, I cannot use this example. They will give me something else. So wherever there is smoke, there is fire. That is inferential knowledge, which is parokshatvena. Parokshatvena, you see the smoke. Smoke is not fire. But wherever there is fire, I have seen the possibility of smoke. Therefore, I infer all the CSI, crime scene investigation, is all inferential knowledge. Parokshatvena. Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha, that which is ascertained by my own viewing and experiencing. I'm seeing it. Aksha means eyes. Pratyaksha, that which is right in front of my eyes. That is why they say Sakshi, the witness in the court. One adjective that they add is Pratyaksha Sakshi. That they were there while this was happening and they saw it with their own eyes. Pratyaksha. Now in Pratyaksha, there is still a Triputi. What is the Triputi? That which is being perceived, that which is perceiving, and the perception, the link between the two. What is aparoksha? Aparoksha is immediate. There are many ways that English is quite irritable language. There are some words which give a very beautiful meaning. Immediate is one such. That there is no mediation required. It is instant. That there is no requirement of a vastu and an anubhava, an object and a relationship with that object to have that experience, because that who is experiencing that which is being experienced and the experience in itself, all three are one and the same. Is it even a possibility? At a very gross level, Bhagavan Krishna shows that to Markandeya Rishi. I don't know why these people ask for such boons. Like Narada said, I wanted to see your Maya and Samsara. Markandeya Rishi says, nobody has ever witnessed Pralaya. Can I witness Pralaya? Why? Anyways, thanks that they asked, we know what it is, at least through a bookish knowledge. There he gives the darshana, wherein it is called the Vatapatra Krishna. And most of the Tanjavur paintings, you will find that Vatapatra Krishna very beautifully depicted. And what is one common thing? That baby Krishna is putting his big toe in his mouth and sucking on it. So that which is being experienced and that who is experiencing and the experience in itself, who is it? Taittiriya Upanishad, Vishnu Sahasranama, in their end, they all say the same thing. Ahamannado, hamannado, hamannadaha, ahagga shloka krita, hagga shloka krita. That I am the anna, I am the annadaha, I am the food, I am the enjoyer of the food, and I am the enjoyment as well. Up until that moment of experience of immediateness and instant experience of myself, by myself, with myself, I am consciously basking in my conscious glow. The most boastful statement of a non-egoistic existence. Quite a paradox there. Up until that moment, everyone are martya. Martya, Hindi translation would be very good. जो हमेशा मरते रहता हो. Oh my God, if I don't do this, I'm dead. Oh my God, if I do this, I'm dead. That is a dead end. Constantly dead, 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 dead. Martyaya. Hantave. Hantave, that which is being for being caught. Martya is definitely being caught by this. Caught by what? Te sahasra ayutam. Thousands of, tens and thousands of pashaha. Pashaha, various kinds of ropes, noose, pasha. I think that also runs in the family. Devi also holds a pasha. Ganesha also holds pasha. Kartikeya also holds pasha. Pashankushadhara. Right? You know, जैसे बाप वैसे बेटे. It's a family package deal. That they all have pasha. And how many pashas are there? How many nooses are there? Tens and thousands of thousands and thousands of. Meaning innumerable. It is not like this rishi sat there, Bhagwan, keep holding it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, counted all the nooses there. That means innumerable number of pasha. So far, what has been said is the Jiva's story, our story. And what is it that we need to pray? Tan sarvan yajnasya mayaya avayajamahe. Tan sarvan. See, in the next sentence, in the next part of the mantra, Tan yajnasya mayaya sarvan. So sarvan, so you place it after tan. Tan sarvan, all these different pashas, all of them. Yajnasya mayaya, with our efforts of samskara, yajna samskara, that we are offering ourselves unto you. Therefore, avayajamahe, avayajamahe, release us from it, put them aside. There's only one person that can release us from this bondage. Nobody else has that capacity. And that is that Lord. And He is the only one that can grant that. Instead of asking for that, we go ask for all simple, small, little, silly little things. Oh God, give me, however it is, give me fame for 5 minutes. Make me famous. And Bhagwan is like, yaar, aur kuch nahi mila. I can give you more. This much enough. Even in our santosha, we are alpa santoshi. We do not know how to really ask or enjoy. Alpatvena, alpabuddhitvena. In Bhagavatam, in the very beginning, there is a description of how Kali Yuga will be. It says, Mandaha, Manda Matayaha, Manda Bhagyaha, Mandaha, dense headed. Mandamati, the content in that head is also of dense nature. Sometimes there are people very foolish, but they are born with such amazing, blessed life. Their luck is amazing that they fall and they land into something which is more glorious than what they were earlier. At least by bhagya, by good luck. इनका बैड लक ही खराब है. That is not the pettiness that we should be asking. So here the meaning is, Hail Parameshwara, O Lord, you are the form of death, you are the ultimate boss of death, Martyaya, for us all, limited beings. And we are caught up in this hundreds and thousands of nooses all around. The first time I was reading it, I closed my eyes and imagined hundreds and thousands of nooses all around. Funnily, instead of scaring me, that thought immediately, it gave the picture of, what is it? Gulliver's travels, right? So he lands, his boat is tossed around and he lands into a place which is, he wakes up and he finds himself that there are these tiny little beings running around and Lilliputs. And he says, am I dreaming? And he wants to get up. And as he wants to get up, he finds himself that these tiny threads all over from head to toe, he is like tied down. And there are little, if there are too many ants running on your body, on your skin, and if you are blessed with being tickled, what can a small little thread do? But if it is not just one small thread, there are millions of it tying us down. And what are these millions of threads that Bhagavan is holding? It is our karma, vasana, prarabdha. And as Mundaka Upanishad says, Yame Vesha Vrunute Tena Labhyaha. Who gets this blessing? Yam Sadhakaha Yesha Paramatmani Vrunute. The sadhak, when he chooses Paramatma to be his only goal and ideal, to such one with that intensity, they are blessed with this blessing. For many who have Paramatma as one of the list, like I want this also, I want that also, I want this also, and that, there, that also there. Last time I went there, I saw it, I want that also. And then in the end, maybe Paramatma. Now the single pointed focus is Paramatma and nothing but Paramatma. And as Kabir Das ji says, how intense should it be? Like somebody who is parched, dying of thirst. To such one, you tell them, "Chal movie dekhte hain. Let's go for a movie." What movie? I need some water. Water. Or let's go to Disney World. And nothing of this even becomes a distraction. All that person focuses on is to find that water, that intensity. Yam eva esha vrunute tena labhya. That is one meaning. The second meaning of the same mantra is Yam Paramatma Yesha Sadhakanam Vrunute. Who gets that vision? Who gets that oneness with that Paramatma? Whenever Paramatma deems us to be fit, saying that yes, now you having dedicated your life with that single pointed effort, you are qualified, let me pick you. I would like to have both merged. When will that Paramatma pick? When I make him my priority. You have raised children, right? You have a couple of kids growing almost at same age. Usually you have what, 2 years, 3 years difference between first and second. Usually I said, one is showing 5, one is showing 3. Then so the kids are all there. Which kid do you pay attention to? That which is constantly being cranky, isn't it? Whichever is the most cranky one, constantly crying, don't you pick that kid? And the other kid is like, happy-go-lucky, good with the toys, and sucking onto that little pacifier, and gala, and you look at him, okay, is fine. This fellow, what? As soon as you pick, like instant. Okay, then nothing is wrong. You put constant attention. Are we ready to call for that Lord with that kind of intensity? We have been blessed with wireless communication. That you don't even need to utter a word. The intensity of thinking, the thought is sufficient. Oh Lord, I need nothing but you and you alone. You are my focal point. such one gets picked. No point crying in front of the world for worldly things. In many vernacular languages in India, when there's somebody constantly crying, they say, "क्या रोगे?" हमेशा रोते रहते हो. Rona, crying, is often equated as rog. Arjuna also cried. Arjuna Vishada. It was not equated to as roga. It was equated to as yoga. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. The first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan, ye bhi partiality. He cries, you call it yoga. I call it, you call it roga. Not fair. Nuh-uh. We cry in front of this Vastu Prapancha, therefore it becomes roga. Cry in front of that Lord, for that Lord, then that crying also becomes yoga. As the 7th canto of Bhagavatam says it clearly, it does not matter what method. Manah Krishne niveshayet. Kenapi bhavena hridisthitena. Whatever bhava it be. Like Kamsa, it was fear. Shishupala, it was dvesha. The gopis, it was prema. Whether it is prema, whether it is dvesha, whether it is kama, whether it is fear, bhaya, it does not matter. Intensify that only for that Lord. Because we unwittingly, we have lived a life wherein very callously we have bound ourselves, tied ourselves down to this samsara. And the only example that I can figure is how the monkeys are caught by the what do you call the bandar nachwala madari. They have a glass jar with a thin mouth. The thin mouth is designed in such a way that your hand can go inside. And inside that glass jar, there is a lot of nuts. These monkeys put their hand in, grab the nuts, and now want to pull. This glass jar is fixed into the floor. Now suddenly you should see their faces. Oh my goodness! I think there is a ghost inside. They start screaming, screeching. And instead of helping the rest of the monkeys, they start, I think they're trying to help, but for an onlooker, it doesn't look like help. 40, 50 of them, the entire gang jumps, pounces. And by the time they all feel disgusted and leave, the fellow whose hand is still does not drop it. Now, is there any ghost holding there? Are the nuts clinging on? Please, please pick me. I am there in this jar for a while. Pick me, pick me. Are the nuts clinging on? We are the one who is holding on to it. Incidentally, today, when we started the last stotra that was running of Brahmananji, he says it in that Adi Shankaracharya's Kriti, stotram, it was Kaupina Panchakam. Incidentally, that was the last one. That's why I told him also, wait till it says Kaupinavanta Khalu Bhagyavanta, then you can stop. Who is the happiest one? That who has nothing to cling on to at all. The only thing that you can cling on to is that Lord. That is the only way that we can cut these different binding bondages that we have developed around ourselves. You move away from an environment. Do you think everybody's life has come to a pause? It continues. They may show certain amount of considerable attention as long as you are there in front of them. Oh, I'm going to miss. The naked truth is nobody is going to miss. Don't we just move on? I keep asking this question to almost every gathering. Do you remember your parents' names? Oh, yo. What is that reaction? You're like, you remember. Grandparents on both sides? Good. Maybe. Okay. Their parents? Maybe if you are performing the Shraddha, then you have to remember 3 generations on all directions. But now that also has become a fashion not to do. So there is a possibility not to remember our 3rd generation ahead before us. Within one family, I'm not talking of somebody else outside. Within one family, we end up forgetting our own ancestors. What about you and me? Another page in history turned only to be forgotten in dust. Nothing, no person, no time, no vastu, no paristhiti ever clings on to us. Who is clinging back? Us. Those are the pasha. And to tell you a fact, with so many lives of vasanas that we have in our sanchita, the storehouse of all our vasana, how is it? It is like you put Everest. On the top of Everest, you put Sumeru Parvata. On that, you put Meru Parvata. And then from the top, you pour enough sand or dirt. However large is the expanse, that kind of vasana stock that we have. Even when Bhagavad Gita says that purify your heart with all these vasanas, it is practically impossible to clear out all these vasana layers. It is like a sparrow taking a straw, dipping into the ocean, and then coming out onto the shore, shaking it up, and then going back into the ocean, dipping it. So this rishi saw and asked, "What exactly are you doing?" I had my little ghosla, my little nest, and I had laid a few eggs. I had gone just a little distance. This ocean swallowed my nest, my eggs, and everything. I have taken a sankalpa to empty out this ocean. And what is this sparrow doing? Does it have a drainer or something that is hooked onto a machine, put it there and flush it out? No. It's taking a straw, dipping it into the ocean, coming out, shaking it. This is enough of talking to you, Rishi, because I have a whole ocean to clear out, and starts fluttering and goes there and dips and comes out and starts looking at the intensity. This Rishi, in one gulp swallows it, giving those 3 eggs back to the bird. If I'm not wrong, it was Agastya Rishi. He is the one who has that. Often, whenever required, he empties out the entire ocean, entire river. He must have had a good capacity. And then he comments, he says, "Your effort is similar to a human who is trying to remove his vasana one drop at a time, which is impossible. The only way that we can do is that which is pertinent, immediate layer of vasana. Work on that, clear that out, so that there is certain amount of stability that is created. To visualize the entire amount of vasana to be cleared is an impossible task. And Lord, you are holding the reins in your hand. All that I can pray is I'll clear this out and dedicate my time with you as my single pointed focus. Yajnasya mayaya, with the effort of our good karma, performing the karma yoga in such a way that I dedicate this selflessly to the highest altar, and as there's absolutely no selfishness involved, there is stability created inside. Now, with that strength, I seek your blessings, because humanly all that which is possible I have done. I have cleared this little patch, cleaned it up. I have created that focal point of my mind, and my intellect does not have any ambiguity at all. There's clarity. Now all that I am waiting is in this cleared patch. When will you land to pick me up? Because only you can. Therefore he says, avayajamahe. And then he says, Mrityave swaha, Mrityave swaha. Om namo bhagavate Rudraya Vishnave Mrityurme pahi. Bhagavate Rudraya Vishnave Mrityurme pahi. Mrityave swaha, Mrityave swaha. To that Parameshwara who is Kala Kalantaka, the one who is the end of even the Kala. To that absoluteness of Mrityu, I invoke and offer all my past, present, karma, and everything that I own, and the one who owns everything. Everything that I own, everything that I have, and the one who claims to have all this, including him, I offer everything into that Paramatma. Mrityave Swaha, Mrityave Swaha. That would be called Purna Sannyasa. Sannyasa has got nothing to do with the color of cloth that you wear. In and around Ayodhya, those ashrams have become so popular and so wealthy that the principal uh, pontiff who has to take care generations ago was a sannyasi. But then to maintain the hold, and now these sannyasis, Mahanta they are called. These sannyasis are supposed to be those who are sannyasis. Now they have wife, children, and their children become the next pontiff, and the entire property and everything goes to them, just so that it is not abducted or it is not snatched away. They have an army of people who are trained in guns and weapons. Have you heard of it? I just informed you. And don't give me the dialogue, eh? That is why these sannyasis, you don't know how to believe them. And what can we do? The first time somebody used the sannyasi robes was Ravana to abduct Sita ji. Since then, this cloth has always been, but it has got nothing to do with the cloth. And as Gurudev puts it very beautifully, just because somebody owns a violin does not make him a violinist. Just because somebody is having a white coat does not make them a doctor, or a black coat make them a lawyer or a judge. Similarly, it is not the cloth but the mental attitude of the readiness to give up everything. And that experience on the day of taking that sannyasa, it is not done out of frustration, it is done out of thankfulness, wherein all aspects of this creation, there is an ahuti done, saying, for all that which you have given unto me for my sustenance, my growth, and my, whether I have been appreciating it or not appreciating it, I offer to you my gratitude. To all the ancestors of this life and earlier lives, I offer my gratitude for whatever you have nurtured me and nourished me with. I have come to this point of understanding that this is my focal point, therefore to entire family, to the Pancha Mahabhutas, to the 33 kinds of gods. People misunderstand, and even in other commentaries and documentaries, Hindus claim to have 33 million gods. I have gone through the entire series, I am yet to find that many. It is not, then they say 33 crore, 33 koti. Koti means crores, koti also means kind, variety or categories. So to all these gods, to the entire Guru Parampara, to the Shastra, to all of them, the offering is given and saying, thus having offered, I have nothing else to retain. And one of the most intense experiences of that is when that individual has to perform his or her own Shraddha Tarpana. Shraddha Tarpana, as if that Jiva is henceforth dead. Now, once a Jiva is dead, what can that Jiva own? What can that Jiva possess? तेरी तो हम चिता जला चुके हैं. It is already burnt and then done with. A very intense experience. Thus, coming to a point of assimilation and understanding that the one who is holding on to it is also given up. Enas tyajasi tat tyaja. That with whose presence you have been giving up, give that one up as well. There is that ego who is holding on to, oh, I have given this up, I have given that also up. I have reduced I have given up so many things. Really? Inside there are so many layers. Either you can clean up the entire mountain. It's a Herculean task, almost impossible. Or the one who is clinging on to it, give that fellow up. In Hindi they would say, na rahegi baas, na bajegi basuri. Give that ego up. Mrityave swaha, mrityave swaha iti. Om namo bhagavate rudraya vishnave mrityurme pahi. Vishnave bhagavate rudraya. These are all the names of the Lord. Vishnave, here they are not talking about Bhagavan Vishnu. I hope we understand that by now. Do you all know that Ganesha Shloka? Shuklam Varadharam Vishnu. Why is he called Vishnu? It is from the perspective or the meaning of all pervasiveness. Vishnu. Vishnave. Bhagavate, the one who is endowed with 6 attributes. Rudraya. Rudraya, that Parameshwara who has taken the form of Rudra. Rudra, as we have seen in the beginning, quite a few meanings. Rudraya, who is Rudra? Rik trayate iti Rudra. The one who removes pain, sorrow, misery is called Rudra. Rodayati iti Rudra. The one who makes us cry. Because we are holding on to it, and when it is snatched away, we are like, we start crying. Rodayati iti Rudra. The one who removes the cause for misery, thereby giving us that joy, therefore called Rudra. Namaha. To you, unto you, we offer salutations. Please, mrityurme pahi. Protect me from this mrityu. Mrityu, sense of limitation and limited existence. May I be relieved. May I be released from the bondages of these limitations. Pahi, protect me. So in this particular Rudram, when we started with the Laghunyasa, long time ago. So in this Laghunyasa, Nyasa, I'm just giving you an overview of the entire Rudram as we started. The understanding and the depth that was made available, I should say, thankful to all the earlier generation commentators, starting from Shayanacharya ji, who wrote the commentaries on entire Vedas. Then Bhatta Bhaskara ji, who is recognized even today as the greatest Upasaka of Lord Shiva, and he is the one who gave us the Dhyana Shloka for each mantra, each rik, and he is the one who also identifies very clearly as to who is the Rishi, who is the Ishtadeva worshipped with that mantra. So Bhatta Bhaskara ji's commentary, then Vishnu Suri ji's commentary, Shayanacharya, Bhatta Bhaskara, Vishnu Suri, then Abhinava Shankara. He was in the Sringeri lineage, and he was as bright or brilliant like the Adi Shankaracharya himself. Therefore, he was often recognized as Abhinava Shankara. And there is one in Rajasthan, there is one place, I'm trying to remember. So there is one ashram there, and there is this Swamiji called Maheshanandaji. His commentary on Rudra, it's called Rudradhyayi. Then the commentary of Skanda Deva, which is called Skanda Deva Prokta Rudra Bhashya. So these various commentators and their commentaries. There is one from Ramakrishna Mission, Swami Amritananda Puri. So his commentary. So all these commentators said their blessings that I could read through all of them and bring the most concise picture. So we started with the first Laghunyasa. Nyasa means to give up, renounce. One meaning. Nyasa, the other meaning is to hold, to abide, and to invoke. So that when you say sannyasa, it has to be both ways. Giving up, renouncing all that nonsense which are limitations, and then holding on to that Paramatma, invoking his presence and holding on to it and abiding in it is the other aspect of nyasa. Both have to happen hand in hand. So here the idea is it is a upasana. Upasana, upa asana, sitting closest to that divinity. And when I say sitting closest to that divinity, it is not a physical proximity. It is the mental proximity to that aspect of divinity. How we can elevate this mind to that level. The other meaning of upasana is nikrushta vastuni utkrushta bhavaha upasana. That when you look at all these, it is just material. It is there, Lord Shiva in that silver color is a metal. I'm assuming some kind of aluminum or whatever metal that is. It's a metal. But in that metal, in that form of that metal, we are invoking that Parameshwara. When you look at it, it is a stone. So these stones coming all the way from Gangotri, Gomukh, rolling over, and they are constantly tossed that by the time they reach Kashi, all their rough edges have been polished, as though they've been tumbling that many times. All the loose edges and rough edges have been polished. By the time they reach to Kashi, they are nice, round, circular, elliptical sometimes. So you pick those stones and then do the pratishtha and invoke that Paramatma in that stone. And henceforth it will not be just a stone, it will be in through that Lingakara, that Parameshwara who is invoked. Now, in order to do that upasana, the first step is to elevate this mind to that level. So the sutra there is Rudro Bhutva Rudram Archayet Arudraha Rudram Ma Archayet. That when you raise yourself up mentally to that aspect of divinity and fine tune your mind in there, such one who has fine tuned is qualified for the worship and upasana of that divine. You cannot just run in and sit there and do your puja. It's as critical as somebody entering into the operation theater. You cannot have a squash or a volleyball game and then rush in and go directly and operate. Before you can do that, you take a shower, then you go scrub and wear those, what kind of clothes are they called? No. Scrubs मैं जानता हूँ. Sterile. Thank you. Sterile. And you wear such, and then qualified you enter in. Similarly, when you look at it, our ancient, they would say first take shower, and then the cloth that is, it is not touched by anybody, it is not touched by any other environment, and it is in direct sunlight, it has been drying up. When you take a shower with that wet cloth, you come, take this cloth and then tie it around, then you enter into the temple. From the physical aspect to the subtlest aspect, creating that tuning, fine tuning of that mind to appreciate and be qualified to worship that Paramatma. So various kinds of nyasa, and we have taken into consideration only the Laghu nyasa. Because when those people who chant Mahanyasa and then Rudra during the Abhisheka, the Mahanyasa takes 50 minutes and the Rudra Prashna and Chamaka Prashna will take hardly about 20-25 minutes. It's a huge process. And in, I think it was in the first Yup batch, Puja Guruji did speak on Shiva Sankalpa Stotra. Tanme Manas Shiva Sankalpamastu. So that is a part of that Mahanyasa. But we have chosen to start from the Laghunyasa. So the first thing that we do is we invoke that Lord and visualize that Lord. Dhyanam. How is that Lord? So we have gone through the Dhyana Shloka. And after the Dhyana Shloka is done, then we do the Nyasa. Nyasa, various limbs. We invoke the presence of that Adhishthana Devata. So we have gone through that, wherein we said Agnir me vachishvritaha vaghridaye hridayam mayi aham amrite amritam brahmani. That Adhishthana Devata is immortal tattva, and I am fine tuning myself to that immortality, nothing less than that. Thus, having invoked and seeking Lord Ganesha's blessings, in the end, Om Ganana Antva Ganapatigam Havamahe, seeking his blessings. When as a seeker we come to the Lord, we come from various conditionings and limitations. We are beaten up in our own life, and nobody else is the cause for it, but the experience is that we are beaten up from all directions. We have set ourselves up with our own unconscious living into a direction wherein everything is pulling us from all directions and pulping us into that moment. So all our actions are pulping us down. So in net result, what is our life? A pulp fiction. And at that time when we come to the Lord, there is a lot of guilt, there is a lot of remorse, there is a lot of repentance, there is a lot of fear. Fear because of all that which I have done, that which I am conscious of, that which were not absolutely right things to do. All these things are flooding in. So in that perspective, when I look at that Lord, he seems like a terrible form. A terrible form which almost seems like penalizing me. That he has all these astra shastra, he has the bow and arrows, and he's sharpening the arrow, and the guilt consciousness mind, it is constantly saying, oh my God, he is going to shoot me with those, he is going to punish me with those, he is going to, now I have to repent, I have been hit by that, now the Lord is also taking. It's a typical mindset of a child who has done something wrong, comes home, and then somehow pulls up enough courage to confess. And the parents are grinding their teeth, tensing their lower jaw, looking intensely at the kid. And the kid says, you promise me you will not get scold me, you will not do this. Don't. And the kids that who have grown up here, they come back with such an awesome sentence. Many of the parents, they're like, they don't know what to say after that. At least I'm being honest. And you're like, that is true. Thanks for being honest. One thing is like a disconnect there. That honesty flourishes in that personality which is appreciating and living a life of integrity. Lack of that integrity, that honesty, is as good as not being honest. Being honest about having done asatya, what good is that? Honesty is appreciated in the realm of integrity. But still that integrity is lacking. I am scared of that Lord. In that fearful mode, I see a terrible form of that Lord. It's the visualization of that seeker. And then there is the transformation that happens. He settles down. And then slowly starts transforming himself or herself into looking at the Lord and various aspects of that divine that has touched him, but he was not in a position to recognize it. The Vishveshwara Rupa of the Lord. The first one was the Rudra, terrible form. Then was the Vishveshwara form. Where every aspect of this creation, it starts from the second Anuvaka. Namo Harikeshayopavitine Pushtanam Pataye Namo Namo Bhavasya Hetye Jagatam Pataye Namo Namo Rudraya Tatavine Kshetranam Pataye Namo Namo. So from there on, he says, all these aspects that I have experienced earlier, where I have not recognized, now I feel, I can see that it was your presence alone. From that Vishveshwara Rupa, wherein now as the intensity of the seeker is high, so there is dual namaskara for with each name. There is Namaha in the beginning and Namaha in the end. So if you have seen Namas Sahamanaya Nivyadhina Avyadhini Nam Pataye Namo. So it starts with Namaha, ends with Namaha. When the child is trying to speak to the angry mother, mom, mom, constantly that mom is inserted there. It's trying to reach across. Similarly, this sadhaka is trying to reach across. Then the transcendental aspect of this entire creation is understood as that seeker becomes subtler and subtler. Namo bhavaya cha rudraya cha namah sharvaya cha pashupataye cha namah नीलग्रीवाय च शितिकंठाय च नमः कपर्दिने च व्युप्तकेशाय च नमः. So from there on, it is the transcendental aspect of that Parameshwara which is appreciated and recognized. Now from the transcendental aspect, that Paramatma alone who is coming, so first starting from the multitude into one focal point, and having reached that focal point, from there on, how does this entire creation pervade and permeate that Paramatma alone? That aspect as a complete cycle, from here to there and from there as well downwards, everything is connected, and that is nothing but Paramatma. Then in the last two Anuvakas, we focus about that it is not just that he is permeating and pervading this entire creation, he is also the cause to maintain this entire creation in a seamless balance. That it is his aspect expressing as the Rudra Gana are the ones who are taking care of the karma phala, they are the karma phala data. And to maintain all these various aspects of this creation in that seamless pattern of balance, it is that Rudra Gana, Rudra aspect alone. So those aspects as well is worshipped. Thus having worshipped, finally the student says, or the seeker says, that I have done my worth effort in fine tuning and clearing my mind, focusing on you. Now all that, now this is where the stability of the intellect is required. This is at a personal level advice. Is when the guru or when the directives are given that do your swadhyaya, do your japa, do your tapas, do your dhyana, and you have been doing it for 2-3 years, and you say, what next? I have been doing this, what next can I do? Can I do something else? If the intellect does not have that stability and clarity, it will keep pushing that mind towards more of doing aspect rather than being aspect. That stability of that intellect comes in when it is filled with jnana. That all aspects of my own lack of understanding are clarified. Therefore, Swadhyaya insisted that all those queries, all those doubts, all those questions are removed. Then when I sit with that focal point, as in Bhagavad Gita he says that sooner than later, that oneness happens, and finally that ego, that mind collapses, merges into that Paramatma. Up until then, O Lord, give me that courage, give me that strength, because you alone can take me to the other side. So that was the overall perspective of this Rudra Tattva. Rudram is not complete until we chant the Chamaka Prashna. It is called Namaka Prashna because there are Namaha, Namaha, Namaha. So why is it called Chamaka? Because there is Chame, Chame, Chame. So there is a lot of, somebody in North India said, बहुत चमकता है वहां पे. Like You see here, Vajascha me, Prasavascha me, Prayatischa me, Prasiddhischa me, Dhitischa me. So the chame, chame, chame. Therefore, it is called Chamaka Prashna. So the crux of this Chamaka Prashna uh, will not take as much that it has taken us to go through the Rudra Prashna. So in one more sitting of 5 days, I should be able to cover the Chamaka Prashna. But the Rudra Prashna, with his blessings, with a lot of gratitude, say that we were blessed enough to have I was blessed enough to have the opportunity to go through and have the opportunity to share it along with you as well. Hopefully, it touched you as much as it has touched me. If not today, at least by tomorrow. May this reach across. That is not actually a part of Rudra. That the rishis or the ancient, we have been saying it just to have a conclusion for the one who is chanting it. Prananam granthirasi rudroma vishantakaha tenannenapyayasva. Prananam granthirasi rudro ma vishantakaha. That there is a prana, and this prana is tied down to the granthi here. Granthi, various knots. What I am seeking is the bursting of those knots and not of the prana. That may I be released of these knots and not of my prana. Tena ena apyayasva. May you sustain this prana until it merges into you. Sada Shivam. And what is that merger? Into that eternal auspiciousness. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.